pair of Northern First Nations are evacuating due to wildfires that are threatening their communities. Good evening, I'm Ryan Bonazzo. Thank you for joining us. The forest fire situation in the Northwest region continues to flare up again. Pikangikum is one of two area First Nations that are in the process of evacuating their members due to large fires that are creeping closer. Red Lake Fire 40 has forced the full evacuation of North Spirit Lake First Nation. The MNR was observing that 11,000 hectare fire when it suddenly started burning northward toward North Spirit. 5 planes filled with evacuees left that community today. Meanwhile, Red Lake Fire 62 was approximately 12 kilometers from Pikangikum yesterday. The MNR hasn't said how much closer it burned today. Chief Patty Peters says about 500 vulnerable members will be flown to southern Ontario starting tomorrow. The fire has already crossed Nungesser Road, which runs from the town of Red Lake to Taxi Bay, where Pikangikum residents take boats to and from their community. The MNR has set up sprinklers at Taxi Bay to protect up to 200 pickup trucks that are parked there. A remarkable artifact has been found in the heart of Thunder Bay. Earlier this week, Fort William First Nations Resource Management Response Unit, in collaboration with the city, unearthed an intact arrowhead while screening the lands around the Central Avenue baseball diamonds. Jessica Clement has the details.
It may be small, but this arrowhead is a big deal. Found on Tuesday around the baseball diamonds off of Central Avenue, the artifact is being hailed as a significant archaeological find for Fort William First Nations Resource Management Response Unit.
This is the first time we found a full intact piece of artifact within the last 4 years of working.
Environmental technician Faith Johnstone has been working alongside Woodland Heritage Northwest, doing archaeological screenings of city-owned land. This work is in collaboration with the City of Thunder Bay and is part of a major housing development project in the Central Avenue area, according to engineering manager Aaron Ward.
Before the city kind of looks to have our land possibly brought forward for development, we're ensuring we're doing our due diligence on all these things, whether it's environmental work or cultural and natural heritage as well. So we've been screening several of these sites. Fort William First Nation was engaged from the outset. We were consulting with them on the possibility of these lands and other lands being developed.
Senior archaeologist David Norris says his team was thrilled to find that piece of history, noting they also found flakes and chips from the process of sharpening stone tools.
We're the next people to find it, whether it's 100 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. We uncover it, and I think that's a very powerful connection.
He adds that the next steps include analyzing the intact artifact and then returning it to Fort William First Nation for safekeeping.
We're going to talk to the community and see if they want to have some type of ceremony. I think from our perspective, we can move forward with the additional work that we need to do, which will involve sort of slightly larger pits than we've been digging. And so we'll proceed probably into a stage 3, working in conjunction with the city and Fort William, and go from there.
This cultural heritage recovery work isn't just about archaeology. It's about reclaiming our identity and exercising our inherent treaty rights and protecting what is ours.
Alicia Boschkoff with Fort William First Nation says the significant find shows the importance of municipalities consulting and collaborating with First Nations for development projects from the beginning.
Our goal has always been to ensure that we're moving forward with development in a respectful manner. Our next steps are to continue working with the city, ensuring that we stay on an appropriate timeline, but making sure that we're respecting the land and the stories that it holds.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The town of Ignace will be getting a brand new OPP station. Kenora Rainy River MPP Greg Rickford announced that the old house-style station that served the community for the last 3 decades or more will be replaced by a new state-of-the-art facility. Justin Hardy has the details.
A new Ignace OPP station is on the way, according to Kenora Rainy River MPP Greg Rickford, who was recently in town to share the news. Rickford confirms that a request for tender has officially been issued, meaning the province is now looking for a builder. The new detachment will replace the current decades-old building that's long overdue for an upgrade. Rickford says aside from bringing policing infrastructure in the community up to modern standards, a new detachment can serve as an important tool to attract and retain officers.
Young people come up here and they look around and they say, geez, I might stay here. It's pretty nice, especially on a day like today, surrounded by beautiful lakes and the likes. So why just do 2 years? Why not stay? And we're seeing increasingly that more and more OPP officers are calling Northwestern Ontario their long-term home, and a place to work. A new modern facility is a very important retention strategy.
There's no public price tag at this point. That's still up in the air until the contractor bids come in. But Rickford has confirmed the location of the new station right across from the Mary Berglund Community Health Center. Ignace Mayor Kim Bagri says she would have preferred a spot right on the highway, but she's still very pleased.
It's been a long time coming to work out of the small station that they do have. I'm sure the police officers are going to be really excited for a new facility, and so is the community.
Bagri adds that this won't just benefit Ignace, but the whole area that the detachment serves.
It's not just community issues, it's highway issues as well. So it's going to be wonderful for our community.
Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Thunder Bay Police are again warning people to be mindful of scammers after one local resident reportedly lost more than $500,000 in a cryptocurrency scheme. Officers note the fraudsters may offer substantial return on investment, but will instead steal the money and gain access to personal financial information. And once the money is transferred, it's highly unlikely that it'll ever be recovered. Police urge people only to use reputable crypto exchanges and to speak to vulnerable friends and family members about these kinds of scams so they can avoid becoming a victim. Well, they're a vital part of critical care services across Ontario, but Toronto's 2 Orange Air ambulances have been temporarily grounded for maintenance, meaning the service has to dispatch helicopters from other bases across the province. As CTV's Siobhan Morris tells us, Orange is blaming the war in Ukraine and U.S. tariffs for a parts shortage.
They lift off to rescue patients in the most critical of need. Ontario's air ambulance service, Orange. But right now, the 2 Toronto-based Orange choppers are grounded, out of the mix for needed maintenance. Orange expects the primary helicopter serving Toronto will be out of commission until July 12th. The secondary chopper won't be back in the air until July 18th. Aviation expert Phil Durdy explains the work itself is very routine.
It's usually pre-planned for what we call a heavy check, which is a big inspection. And what they'll do is they will order in parts beforehand so that everything's ready for that downtime of the aircraft so they can get it fixed.
Getting those parts in time is the hiccup in the process. In a memo to Orange staff obtained by CTV News, the company's chief aviation officer explains setbacks related to supply issues from our vendors continue to impact our progress. Manufacturers cite ongoing disruptions tied to raw material shortages caused by U.S. tariffs and the war in Ukraine. Orange insists it's working to get all its choppers in the air and helping patients as quickly as possible. In the meantime, they're leaning on a contingency plan, dispatching helicopters from other bases, supported by additional Orange land ambulances. Orange adds it's in regular contact with the helicopter manufacturer to ensure parts are delivered in as timely a fashion as possible and to mitigate any delays. Recently, the government's been investing in fixed-wing aircraft for Orange's fleet. That could alleviate some of those maintenance concerns. But Durdy says there are still some places small planes can't go that choppers can. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The weather was perfect yesterday evening for the latest Summer in the Parking Lot concert outside the Superior Inn. The weekly shows, which start at 6:30 every Thursday, are drawing big crowds to watch 3 different local groups on stage each night. Last night's concert featured the band Working on It, along with Amos Bradley Edward and the headliner band Traveler. The shows are organized by the Superior Multicultural Music Development Society. MC Jim Hampton says they've been averaging 500 to 600 people during the first 4 concerts of the year, and he's expecting even bigger turnouts for the remaining 7 shows this summer. Hampton says it was that rising number of spectators that prompted them to move this year from the Da Vinci parking lot to the larger space outside the Superior Inn.
The switch was made because we were starting to run out of room there, because we were seeing our crowds getting bigger and bigger, so it's kind of exciting.
You know? All right, so the Superior Inn is your new home. So far, so good?
So far, so good. They're wonderful to work with, as was the Da Vinci. Superior is wonderful to work with, very accommodating, and look at our place. Look at how beautiful it is here.
Hampton says if it rains, the concerts can easily be moved inside the hotel. He's expecting the largest crowd of the summer next Thursday, as the headliner performers are the Australian band The Lazies. Hundreds of Thunder Bay residents have gotten the chance to ride in a hot air balloon. Local Remax Realtors brought their company's signature balloon to the Northwood Playfields to raise some money for a good cause. Jonathan Wilson has the story.
For the first time since before the pandemic, the 2 local Remax brokerages brought in their iconic hot air balloon for the general public to experience. Hundreds of people lined up at Northwood Playfields on Thursday evening and made a donation to the Children's Miracle Network for the chance to try it out.
Oh, we're really excited. We never rode on a hot air balloon before, so this is going to be a first for us. And yeah, it's kind of exciting because you know, everybody's waiting in line here, and we've been waiting for a while too. The conditions were a little windy, so we didn't know if it was going to happen, but it looks like it's happening right now.
It took a few hours in order to give everyone in the lineup the chance to float above Northwood for a minute or two. For safety reasons, the tethered balloon would rise up only about 10 meters or 30 feet above the playfield, but the families we spoke to still enjoyed every second of the experience.
It was funny. It felt like you were just flying in the air.
What about you, Adrian?
It was really cool to be so high up in the air. And it's interesting how it works. Like all the fire makes the balloon rise, and it's really cool.
What do you think, Mom? Why did they want to do it?
It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We had a long wait. We were almost afraid it wasn't going to happen, but it did. So we're super grateful. Very cool experience.
We wanted to do that because of the experience. We never tried it before, heard about it, and thought, why not?
Tony Balouz from Remax Generations and Mario Tegala from Remax First Choice Realty worked together to organize this public event.
So basically what we did is, because we were able to fly the balloon here, we thought we'd incorporate with the Children's Miracle Network. So we gave free hot dogs on their donation, pop, chips, that kind of thing. And it's been a real success, eh, Mario? What, 600 people we've had today?
Very successful. You know, Sick Kids Hospital is one of the charities through Children's Miracle Network. So people in Thunder Bay are very, they're very generous.
Balouz and Tegala say around $2,000 in voluntary donations was raised from the people who came out, and they matched that amount, bringing the total donation to the Children's Miracle Network to $4,000. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Well, what an experience for those families to go up in that hot air balloon. And Fiona, it was another pretty nice day out there for it today as those continued into the morning.
Oh, this is exactly the kind of summer weather I like. Lots of sunshine, some heat, but not too much. A nice breeze, keeping it comfortable. And that's despite there was rain trying to work its way through the region today. For the last 12 hours, we've had a system just to the northwest. Hasn't hit Thunder Bay yet, and so far has been sweeping just a little bit south of Fort Frances, so they didn't get hit as hard as they were expecting, but there is still something heading our way. But today we had a low of 12 in the early morning hours, warmed up to 24, and with the humidex felt like 29, but the winds from the east keeping it a little bit cooler. Off the lake, 6 to 17 kilometers per hour, but for a brief period this afternoon, they were gusting up to 27K. Now, across the region at this time, we've got partly cloudy skies in the fort. They're at 26, but the humidex making it feel a good 10 degrees warmer than that. As you head further north, it's not really the skies that they're hoping to see. They've got a lot of smoke and they're at 22, although the Humidex is making it feel closer to about 28. And then kind of a mixed bag. Temperatures drop quite suddenly as you get into Dryden and Sioux Lookout. They're at 20 and 18, then pop back up to 29 in Upsala and Greenstone, 26 in Armstrong. They've had lots of sunshine for most of the day, then a little bit of increasing clouds in the afternoon, and then just in the last hour, it is completely clouded over. But despite that, the Humidex is still hovering around 36 in the Greenstone region along the North Shore. A little bit cooler in Marathon at 19, 23 in Wawa, and Sault Ste. Marie currently 26 under mostly cloudy skies and a Humidex of 33 at this hour. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, we're going to see similar temperatures, a low of 14, but this evening, remember that system is heading our way. We've got about a 40% chance of showers. There is a risk of thunderstorms, and then we've got the issue that we touched on earlier in the newscast. We've got some watches and warnings. The first one, obviously directly west of Thunder Bay, is potential thunderstorms moving through. But it's more so the air quality warnings that we have for Fort Frances up into Kenora and Red Lake. And that's all due to the forest fire situation. So folks with any kind of breathing issues might have some problems in some areas if they haven't already been evacuated. But it's kind of a mixed bag as far as the forecast is concerned, and I'll have more details and try to break it down for everybody later on in the news hour.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fiona.